right? So you take those steps and he's got you. I promise he's got you. He wouldn't do anything and show you anything that he didn't know what the results were already before he asked you to do it. He wouldn't do that. So trust me when I say he already knows. He is the human performance doctor, right? He is the mind-body connection expert. So he knows exactly what's going on and what you're going to be doing far before you even do in some cases. And that's what we love to see. And that's what I love to see, that you guys are participating, sharing, and everything like that. So we're going to actually share a little bit about some of the micro wins that you guys have been getting. But real quick, let's cover a couple things. First off, I want to welcome you guys again. I don't care if you're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the wonderful places, and especially here in VIP. Let's give it up for everybody at the VIP. This is how we do an applause in Trivedi land. Not everyone knows that, so I'm going to share it again because we can't all come out and clap. That doesn't make sense, right? You're all on mute. It is fun to watch, but this is even better. So everybody give us a round of applause this way. Awesome, awesome. Rebecca's got her emoji sticks going today. I love it. So let's do this. Couple of quick things with housekeeping. If you want to get on VIP, let's do that right away. Get on VIP, get into the Zoom box with us so we can chat together. We can see you on here live. You can ask questions to Dr. T after the event. He's going to do another Q&A session. And let me ask you guys, did you get some major realizations out of other people asking questions yesterday in the VIP? Yeah, I'm seeing heads nodding, absolutely. It's so important because what someone asks, you may not even have thought of, and then it comes out and you're like, oh my God, that's exactly what I was thinking. That's exactly what my question was. And it just brought the light bulb to exactly what root experience that had brought up for me and how I can think about that in a different way. Is that amazing? So it's so important to help each other out that way and be there for yourself in VIP. So check your boxes, check your chat boxes, and type VIP in the chat box for me. I want everybody to do that. Just VIP, VIP. I want to see a bunch of chats going down on that Facebook. VIP. Yes, there it goes. There it goes. You guys are awesome. VIP's where it's at. Okay, let's do this. I want you guys to also make sure, obviously, like I said, get onto VIP. They will put that in the chat box. You just click on that, upgrade, no big deal. That way you also get the recordings. You also get a bonus from Dr. T, and you get the Q&A at the end of the day. So don't hesitate to jump on that. If you are invited to anything that Dr. T's team does, his coaches, his trainers, things like that, if you're invited to get on a call with them, don't hesitate to do that as well. That's not something we always get. So if you get invited to do something with the team, they're there for you. They're there. And I just want to say, please reach out and be available. And if, like I said, you get offered something like that, take advantage of it. Take advantage of figuring out where you are in your life and where you want to go, and see if we can help with that in our team, okay? So stay all the way to the end. You never know if we do raffles throughout the day. I want to give it up for a few people who have been participating in a tremendous way throughout the entire event. Rich did a beautiful video. Brenda's been on Facebook a couple times. Great job. Caleb has been posting. Joanne Moore, Diane Moore. I mean, amazing stuff. I wanted to share a little bit right here with Krishna. He had said, in my transformations, it's a little fuzzy, can't read it. In my transformations, he's doing great here, and he just said that he wanted to share all the stuff that he's been recognizing throughout the last couple days. And I loved how he had music on his video. If you guys haven't seen it, it's so great. This one I think is Brenda as well. She was sharing, she's actually turned in 3 assignments already, separate things that she's already created for herself. Way to go above and beyond, Miss Brenda. I was like, what? She's turning everything in. It was so cool. You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. We're gonna give Brenda, let's give Brenda $100 to Amazon. Everybody, let's give it up for Brenda, okay? She's just been pouring it out. I love that. Great job, Miss Miller. I love it, love it. Yes, you guys have been sharing amazing results. Don't stop there. Type micro win in the chat box. I want you guys to type micro win in the chat box on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, because what we're going to be doing, great job. Yeah, awesome. Keep typing that in there. That way, Dr. T can call on you. He will do micro wins at the beginning of the day. So make sure you guys have your win ready. And that way, if he calls you out, get that camera on. You guys jump on there, tell him where you're from, what you do, and your favorite superhero and your micro win. And we can roll through those real quick. I want to get some great ones in today, okay? All right, you guys are awesome. I don't want to take any more time away from Dr. Trivedi, so we want to do that. We want to introduce him. We want to get him up here. We want to spotlight Dr. T, Dr. Rewire today. Are you guys excited? Let's put it up for Dr. T. But I'm going to bring up someone special, a student who has been with Dr. T not super long time, but what's really neat about her is she absolutely loves how Dr. T works, and she loves to see him actually rewire people in person. And when he does that, it just lights her up on the inside. And that way she can also see what kind of wins and celebrations that she can create for herself. And she's just been doing such a tremendous job. I want to pull out Miss Shauna Rash. If you guys could spotlight her for a second, I'd love to see if she could share a little bit about her story and how she got here and introduce Dr. Trivedi today for us. Let's give it up for Shauna.
Hey, everybody. It's so good to see you guys. I have to say thank you again for this opportunity. I am completely honored and humbled that you asked me to do this. So my name is Shauna Rush. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I'm an IT project manager. I was introduced to Dr. Trivedi about 2 years ago through my women's leadership coach, Rachel Williams. She actually does work with Dr. T as well. And since then, I attended an Inner Wealth conference or program, which then was Get Real, which then became, then I went to Creation, then Total Rewire, signed up for Ultimate Rewire, and now the latest experience with Delta, which was just beyond anything. They tell you to get there, they tell you they can't explain it, and they are so correct because it's just beyond amazing. Every time I do these really big programs, they're like an out-of-body experience for me, and I come back such a different person. It's just amazing. When I joined this community, I did not know what my identity was. I thought I did, but I did not. And I was chasing this achievement that I thought I was supposed to have. Like I thought that's where I needed to be. I thought that's where I needed to go. And that's what I needed to get to next. And the more I chased it, the more chaos I was creating in my life. And I was unraveling at all the seams, and everything around me was doing the same. And it was at Creation where I truly learned that my identity was being a mother to my two amazing children. And I didn't realize until that program that I had spent my life avoiding trying to become my mother, and that I was scared that I was going to lose my identity and what I thought my identity was to that role. And so the more I ran away from it, the more things fell apart around me, and every facet of my life was impacted. I was falling apart, everything else was falling apart. And when I truly stepped into that identity and I really owned it and became my true authentic self and recognized what my mission was and where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do, the chaos that was going on all around me began to subside. And my relationship with my kids and my husband began to flourish. My relationships at work were improving. I had these tools now that I didn't before to be able to navigate the challenges and things that were triggering me at the office that I didn't recognize was even a trigger. And I just was able to continue working towards the things that were important to me and live in my highest values. And then the job that I had wanted with everything that I needed and the money that I was looking to make just opened up and became available, and it was for me. It wasn't for anybody else, it was just for me. And so that was truly awesome to see it manifest with all the work that I had been doing, because truly what we do internally manifests externally. And these were the things that the universe was bringing to me, because this was now the energy that I was putting out. Then last year hit. My mother attempted a suicide back in May, and then she was diagnosed with COVID in August, and she was in the hospital until just recently in the early part of December. And last year was really difficult. I had kind of gotten lost in the journey of the things that were going on around me. And I was more focused on the negative, and I really couldn't see any of the benefits of what was happening. And it was such a whirlwind of chaos that was going on that I just I was just lost in the vortex of everything that was happening. And then in the middle of December, my mom and I had a huge falling out. And from that, it really left me raw and angry and sad, and I was hurt. My health was at the lowest it's ever been, mentally and physically and emotionally. I was completely drained. Um, I was distraught, to say the least, and I had lost who I was along the way. And then the January total rewire came up, and I also had realized that last year, doing all of this, I had actually put this wall up to Dr. Trivedi's work, and part of that was because I knew I wasn't living in my highest values, and I had guilt and shame associated with that. And then I got sick with COVID for the third time over Christmas. I should have a T-shirt that says that I've had COVID 3 times. And when the January total rewire showed up, it was there that I began to be able to do the work that truly helped me see both the benefits and the drawbacks to everything that happened in 2021. And I was able to come to a place of gratitude and realize what last year had done for me and not what it had done to me. And I would do it all over again in a heartbeat without thinking twice, because that journey led me to letting go with my mom. See, Jolene, I'm going to get all emotional. I wasn't gonna do that. That journey led me to letting go of what I needed to with my mom, so that I could truly step into me and where I needed to be, so that I could do the work that I need to do. And so I'm so beyond grateful, because Dr. Trivedi, between his expertise and the teachings that he does, he really gives us the tools to navigate life and live truly inspired in a place of gratitude. And when you live there, it's so fulfilling, and the impact that you make is nothing short of amazing. So without further ado, I want everybody to get up, put their hands up, dance in place, whatever it is you want to do. And let's introduce the man who's definitely not a myth, the legend himself, Dr. Alok Trivedi. Love you!
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Shauna. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Or morning, or evening, or wherever you are in the world. Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this. Goodness gracious, Shauna, thank you so much for those kind, warm words. She had so much heart, so much love, so much inspiration of what she provides to people. It's so amazing, right? Did you guys get a lot out of it? Did you guys get some feeling like how real she is, right? That's real conversation. That's real. And I say that because, it's not easy to be real. It's not easy to get up here and speak your heart in front of a group of people that you don't know. And just kind of say, hey, look, this is my journey. This is my life. This is what I've gone through. And as it happens, by the way, like, I had this shit that happened in my life. And, I got these things, and I've got this stuff, this baggage that I'm carrying. And it changed. It completely changed when I started to do things differently. And Shauna is a huge testament to that. So, Shauna, thank you again for those kind words and those warm words. Let's bring Shauna up if we can, just for a second, if she's not crying somewhere. There we go. You're not crying. Okay, great. Fantastic. Good. Shauna, thank you for your kind words. I really, really appreciate it. Appreciate you and your heart and what you bring to the table inside of this. I mean, I hope people resonated, because how many people on this call, just be real, let's just have a real chat, can realize that you have issues with your mother, right? Yeah. Or maybe issues with your father. Yeah. Or maybe issues with your brother, your sister, your aunt. And all these things that are going on are actually stopping you from actually living completely. And we don't like to talk about these things, because it's like, you're not supposed to talk about that. That's a faux pas. We don't talk about that stuff. That stuff is wrong. That stuff is negative. That stuff is bad. We're supposed to live in this idealism where everything's fantastic and perfect all the time. It's just not how the way the world works. I'd love for the idealism to work, but it's just not how the world works. And so instead, it's wiser to become awakened by the reality of life than live in the delusion of the fantasy of life, right? It's better to live in that objective reality, to know what's real, to understand what's real. So for those of you who were here yesterday, welcome back. Yesterday we covered some amazing things. We covered, work on the human body. We talked about your personal primary emotion. We talked about balance. We talked about what it means in how the system works and setting goals. And we talked about the actual why not and what's stopping you from getting to where you want to go. Because it's not just about the why. It's not about working harder. Right? Here's the thing about the why that everyone tells me, and that I love and I hate at the same time. Because I don't know about you, but if you really stop and think about this, right? Like Michael, you've had your why this entire time. And the more the why sits there, the more you look at your why, the harder you work. Think about that just for a second, right? The harder you work. That doesn't mean you work smarter. That just means you work harder. So if you stop and think about this, Amber, and think about this and say, hey, look, I'm working harder. And I say my why is there, and I see my why on the other side, and I got to work harder and harder and harder to get there. Eventually, don't you get burned out? Eventually, don't you get tired? Like Gerald, I don't know about you, but I get tired. I'm a human being that gets tired of that. And if you don't have your cameras on, like Preeti or Aruna or Zandy, like I'm gonna call you out. I hope that's okay. So I hope you can turn your cameras on because I'd love to converse with you. I'd love to talk with you. Let's go to camera 6 just for a second. And I want you guys to see, like I'm talking with you. So if your cameras are off, like I want to have a conversation. I see you, Krishna. I see you, Dawn. I see you waving at me. I appreciate it, right? Is it Dula? I see you, Dula, as well, right? Like you guys are, I want to have this chat. Sharmila, I see you as well. Ryan, I see you. So make sure that your cameras come on so that we can actually engage in this Thank you, Christine. I appreciate it, right? Thank you for turning your camera on inside that. Because the more we can talk over the course of the next couple hours, the greater results we're going to get. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, right? And as we do this, Sandhya, thank you so much as well, right? The more we can converse, because it's easy, right? Zoom puts this world up where we can just hide. We don't have to show our faces. We can just hide and turn the cameras off, and we don't have to be present. And here's what we're doing. As we're not present with the Zoom and what's going on here, we're multitasking. We think we're doing all these other things. We're texting, we're emailing people, we're doing all this stuff that's going on, but we're really paying attention. We're not really paying attention, and we say we're half-assed in it, and we're saying, you know, I did this challenge, and you know, I did this workshop with this Dr. T guy, and you know, I don't know what I got out of it. And it's not that you didn't get anything out of it. It's because you were only paying half attention. So I'm challenging you guys to come on. Preeti, turn your cameras on. Khalil, turn your camera on so that I could see you and chat with you and converse with you so that you dial yourself. I see you, Leah, right? And we can have a full conversation. I'm saying to you, may, just may, be the piece of the puzzle you've been missing. Maybe the piece of the puzzle you've been missing, and if you're not 100% focused, you could miss it. And you could spend the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years trying to figure it out, but miss that piece of the puzzle. And if that happens, look, hey, you know, it is what it is at that point, but you're the one who's going to miss out on it. Right? People like Brenda and Krishna and Rebecca and Darlene who are out there doing their videos, posting, dialing in, got tremendous results out of yesterday's assignment as well, right? How many people did yesterday's assignment and got tremendous results out of it, right? Put your hands up so I can see. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Thank you, right? Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Sandhya. I see you, right? Thank you guys for doing that. And so what I want to do right now is you can't have a macro life without micro wins. So raise those Zoom hands. Let's chat. Tell me what your micro win was yesterday, just from yesterday to today. Tell me what your micro win is. I want to hear from maybe 4 or 5 people what your micro wins are for today. Who do we have first, team? Who's up today so I can hear from them? These micro wins are important because these micro wins tell me what's happening, tell you what's happening. And what they're doing is they're raising that dopamine spike. Because if you're not feeling great, it raises that dopamine spike. And what you're going to do is you can feel better. I shared with you yesterday that you can feel horrible or you can feel great. It's all based on what you choose to focus on. It's simple. It's not rocket science. It's like, oh, of course, but how do you do that? We start by these micro wins. So who do we have first?
Hey, Dr. T, let's give it up for Krishna.
What's up, Krishna?
Krishna, let us know where you're from, what you do, what superhero is.
Hey, hello. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? No, you can't hear me okay? Hello? Can't hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
Can you hear me okay? No, you can't hear me? You can hear me?
Looks like the GA room is hearing Krishna. VIP, are you hearing?
Yeah, you can hear me.
I'm not sure. It's echoing. Cool. Well, while they get that figured out, you know, here's the cool thing about technology, right? I was taught when I became to speak that you have a microphone and you just talk. and you go and you speak, and you don't need anything else. I was taught by a legend in the business, and Bill Gove was his mentor. Steve Siebold was his was a student. He was my mentor inside this, and I was taught that you have a microphone and you're just able to speak. And let me know when we have it up and ready. And now I have more technology that could go wrong and challenges all the time. But I still love the ability just to have a microphone. I think we got to figure it out. Who do we have, team? Are we ready?
After tea, we're gonna head over to the VIP room and go to. It says Maine. Go for Maine, everybody.
Let's go to Maine.
Let us know where you're from, what you do, and who your favorite superhero is.
My superhero is myself. I'm from West Virginia.
Cool.
And my micro win was the thing that would normally become the biggest argument in life every day. I was able to recognize the misunderstanding, not feed the hostility, and really starve it, actually. Redirect all of the energy that we were wasting on the arguing. Just give the answer. This is what we can do. Just this is the proper response. And it was the response coming back was, thank you. I appreciate that. And then it just went right on, smooth day. And that was a phenomenal microwave.
That's
and
amazing. I love that. You said, I didn't catch your name. Can you say it again?
My name is Charmaine.
Charmaine. Thank you, Charmaine. Let's give it up for Charmaine, everybody. All right, let's give it up for Charmaine. Fantastic. And can I just ask you some questions? Would that be okay? Cool. So you're Charmaine. So you had an episode that happened that would trigger you off normally. Yeah. I think
it would be the biggest trigger in the world.
So what was that trigger? What would be that trigger?
Thing.
What would be that trigger?
Well, for example, today it was like my husband was on his way to work, and I'm like, "Are you hungry?" And he's like, "Oh, you want to, just immediately jump in a stick, thinking like I'm trying to get him to stop and from what he has to do." And I realized that it was just a misunderstanding. And so even though he was frustrated, I kind of let it go. Where normally I would feed it and I would get engaged in it, and it was just like, no, if you keep doing that, you feed the monster. And even if they might be satiated because of the hostility that they keep bringing, and it seems like the way, I can starve it, and then I can have my peace. And so because peace is so important for me, and that's all I want, it's like you have to be able to stop looking for the problems and really see how to solve it. And that's what we were able to do. And without even having to look for participation from my husband, it was just, no, you take control because you have control. And it worked. And I'm really appreciative.
I love that. You said something so profound here. You take control because you have control, right? Like that's so big. That's so
Absolutely.
big. It's so big, but we kind of lose ourselves inside that. But let me ask you something. Can I dig a little deeper?
Certainly.
I'm gonna bet, based on some statements that you made, that there's a lot of conflict that you deal with.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of conflict that you deal with, and this was just one episode, but I bet you there's other people that you deal with conflict with. Am I correct in saying that?
Absolutely.
How often do you think that you deal with conflict?
And up until probably about a month ago, it was constant every single day.
Every single day. And does the conflict then piss you off and get raged and angered inside that?
I won't say that because I don't allow that to happen. Even though in that moment I feel all of the feelings, I allow myself to feel them in that moment. And I don't beat myself up for feeling them. This is how I feel. And I'm honest with myself about that. And then I'm also honest with the other person about how I feel. But I also remind them, but thinking and feelings, they have nothing to do with reality. So I can think and feel whatever I want right now. My interest is in solving problems. And before I couldn't communicate with people to get them to hear me. And then I stopped talking and I just started acting. And it's been working.
And so let me just play with this a little bit just to try and help you if that's okay.
Absolutely.
So you're looking for this world where you're constantly looking because peace is important to you.
Absolutely.
And you're constantly bringing war into your life. And you're constantly looking for peace, finding war. Constantly looking for peace, finding war. That's interesting. And what you're doing is you're saying to people, hey, look, I'm not going to get angry. And this is what I feel. And this is the anger that I feel inside. And I feel it on the inside. I just want to take a second. And I don't know how old you are, but if
48.
48, okay, fantastic. Thank you. 48 years old. When you feel that anger on the inside,
Mhm.
what do you think is happening to your physiology when you feel that anger? Because everyone says you have a right to feel what you feel. I get that. You do have that right. And I don't want to take that right away from you. But what if you didn't have to feel that anger?
And I believe that that's actually what I'm working on now is learning how to, like, before things would trigger me and I would just pop off like that. It would just, no room, no thought. I don't care how you feel. I don't even care how you think. Nothing. And it would just be me and how I felt. And then I started to realize that other people have the feelings too. And that maybe they have the same feelings I do. And then, like, but today it's like, no, how about this? If I just remember that anything that happened yesterday is not happening now, and if I look at what is happening now, usually nothing is really happening now. And it's like I'm starting to really see myself and command myself. Like I'm literally sitting in front of a mirror while I'm talking to you guys while I'm looking at this camera, and I look at myself every single day and I tell myself, like, these feelings can sink you, or you can learn that it's me making the feelings. Nobody can make me feel anything. And so
Okay, now hear what I'm about to say. Hear what I'm about to say. Okay? You are creating these feelings to give you the feedback to let you know that you haven't healed part of your past.
say that the last part again. You said
You
I am
haven't
creating.
healed part of your past.
I hear, yes, exactly.
And so the feelings that you get, and I mean this with no disrespect, but just my direct way of speaking, all feelings are bullshit.
I agree.
And so the feeling that you're getting, the feeling that I say I'm proud, I can get to feel this and this is how I feel, and then this person can feel this way, is really not reality. It's just a delusional state.
Exactly.
So when you're looking in the mirror and you're saying to yourself, hey, look, you can bring these feelings or not bring these feelings. What if you could rewire that? And when your husband says, you know what, you're angry or you're pissed off or any of that stuff inside of that, you don't even get triggered.
That's the goal.
Ooh. Please
That's
understand
the
what
goal.
I just said. That.
Yes. Where nothing, where it has no power, and I know that it doesn't, and so it's just you have to. It has to be a way, and I'm so grateful that I fell into this group because I just signed up yesterday and didn't even know what it was, but it just felt right, and I was so busy I didn't get it, but I was like, well, you know what? VIP says you get to listen to it later, so just do it, so that if this has the answer, you get the answer. The only thing that's important is the solution at this point. And what you're talking about right now is exactly what I know needs to happen. And there are very big things I want to do in this life, but I cannot do it if I am a prisoner to my emotions, to other people's emotions. And I recognize that I build this prison and everyone else does too.
That's right.
And so for me to get better, surround myself with the things that I want in my life.
But here's what I want you to do. I don't want you to get better. There's no need to get better because you're already perfect. Don't get
perfectly
better.
and wonderfully, you are right.
Don't get better. Just become more aware. And as you become more aware, you'll love yourself more and you'll heal yourself more. And you don't need to get better. Better is a delusion. It just estimates and presupposes the fact that you're not good enough now. Like that's saying I'm not good enough now, so I need to get better. Why? This is not a skill.
And I'm already good enough. You're right.
Already there, right?
I tell myself every day, like, if I was perfectly and wonderfully made, then I should be perfect and wonderful. And I really do believe that I'm perfect for me, just not perfect for you. And it's really trying to impress that on people that I do not need to be perfect for you, but I really was made perfect for me. And I really know that I have everything I need for me. It's just breaking the habit of responding to external stimuli, breaking the habit of being, beholden to another person's feelings that I have nothing to do with.
Well, I think today you're going to start getting a greater clarity to that and get a better understanding of that. So stay with me today, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. T.
Great job. Let's give it up for her. Great job. Great work. You know, it's funny. Yeah, let's give it up one for sure, right? It's so funny. We sit here and we talk about this stuff, and I just want to just want to speak to you about something that she said that is so true, so resonant, so real for people that they just don't get it. We're taught in our world, in our psychology, that less is more. We're taught in our world that less is more. The less we do something, the more it is, the better it is. And I want to challenge you on that, to stop yourself and ask yourself that. And, she did something right off the bat, which is value herself. There's no question that someone who values themselves invests in themselves. And we walk around, and it's funny. It's so funny. Like, I watch people all over the world, and they sit and they'll say things like, you know what? The cheaper, the better. The cheaper it is, the better. The less money I have to spend, the better it is. How many people have that philosophy in their heads? Please put your hands up. Don't lie to yourself, right? Don't lie to yourself. It's true. Of course it's true, right? It's funny. It's so funny how delusional people are. And I'm going to challenge you, if I can, because everybody in VIP said yes, and everybody in GA said no. But the reality is that in life, the psychology of money and the psychology of self-worth go hand in hand. People look for the cheapest opportunity to do things. How can I get this cheaper? How can I get this cheaper? How can I get this cheaper? And I will tell you, one of the things that I've learned from the wealthy and the people that truly love themselves and value themselves, they say, how can I earn the right to pay this person for their value and service? They stop looking for things for free. They stop living the Walmart lifestyle. And I mean that with no disrespect. But what you're doing is that you're making the Walmarts wealthy, living like everybody else, because everybody is holding that same level of consciousness. And they say, what's it take to live a level of consciousness where people have wealth and money? First, it's going to take yourself to love yourself and know your own value. And you know how you show your own value? You invest in yourself. You invest in your own value. You sit and say, hey, look, maybe if I did something for me, then the universe provides for me. And you know what? That's exactly how it works. It's exactly how it works. When you invest in yourself, it's like, oh, here's a step. I value me. And it's like, bam, new investment opportunities show up. New income opportunities show up. Business shows up. Money shows up. But here's the thing, what we're not taught. We're taught with the psychology, I mean no disrespect by this, by the system that says, you know what? Less is more. And I said this yesterday, respectfully, is that our parents taught us to think. But if our parents had it all figured out, then wouldn't they be living the inspired life? I mean, it's kind of a like, that's a big T-by-4 across the head. Like, shit, maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. But if you can sit and say to yourself that, hey, look, I am completely where I want to be because I've invested in myself and I'm living the life that I want to, then great. But if you're not, I'm going to push you. I'm going to challenge you. As I said yesterday, I'm not here to be your friend by any means. I'm here to be your mentor and teacher. And as a mentor and teacher, I'll say to you that if you don't value yourself, how do you expect anybody else to value you? If you don't value who you are and what you do, how do you expect anybody else to? And value comes from many different ways. But one of the ways that I know that people value themselves is that they sit and say, you know what? I want to learn more. I want to dive in more. Like in the VIP Q&A last night or yesterday, we had some great questions. Some great questions about type 1 diabetes, about health conditions, about how to take your life in relationships when one person's in a relationship who's spread thin and someone who's not on the same page. How do you navigate that? Like, these are the things that you want to navigate in your life. But when you're looking for things for free, you get in life what you pay for. It's just that simple. I've spent over $2.2 million on my brain. $2.2 million on my brain. And I'd love to sit and say, hey, look, you know what? I'm done. I'm not. You know what? What I've realized is the higher I go, the more expensive the mentors become. Just how it works. So I maybe I challenge you, maybe I urge you, maybe I ask you to look at yourself and say, you know what? Are you worth VIP? Are you worth saying to yourself VIP? Are you worth saying that, you know what? I belong with the group where people are important and value themselves? I don't know. It's something to think about. But if you are, then come into the VIP, because what you guys don't know, I'm going to go to the chat board here. And I can talk to the VIPs right here. I can have a conversation. Like Maine says, I'm more VIP. I value me. I can see it. Yes, I'm VIP, right? Farah, the challenge is that I wanted people to join VIP because they value themselves, right? And I can see David Musso says, I always jump into VIP, right? That's what it takes. That's what it's going to take for people to really start valuing and loving themselves. If you want things to move forward in your life, you've got to be the one that pushes it forward. So, who do we have next today?
Hey, Dr. T. Next up we have is Brenda. Give it up for Brenda, everybody. Brenda, let us know where you're from, what you do, and who your favorite superhero is.
Hey, Brenda.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can. Tell me where you're from.
I am from Nebraska,
Very cool.
homegrown state. And if I had to boil it down to one superhero, it would be Catwoman. I have several. I love the comic book era. And my micro win is I signed up for Rewire, Total Rewire.
Great. Congratulations. Let's give it up for that, right? Fantastic. You know what you're going to find in those 3 days, Brenda? You're already dialing in. I read your posts. I read your letter. And congratulations. And she also won the gift card. Jolene gave her the gift card, too. That's fantastic. Congratulations on that, too. But those 3 days, we're going to dive really deep into who you are. You're going to walk away with clarity on your identity. You're going to understand with clarity who you are. You're going to know your mission. And, you're going to be able to look back at your life and see everything kind of work together. And you're going to see this whole brain and neurology is going to come together, and your body is going to start working together, and everything will start coming together in your life. And you will walk away that program, I promise you, if you do the work, a completely different human being. And your life.
I hope so, because I feel lost.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that. I want you to know I appreciate you saying that. And it's that feeling of lost that lets us know that we actually need to find who we are. Because let's be real, right? How many people on this call can sit and say, maybe Emily, you can attest to this. Maybe it's Preeti can attest to this. Maybe it's Reed. Maybe it's Melissa. How many people feel lost at some level? Yeah, a lot of us do, right? And it's okay. It's okay that you are. Because all lost means to me in my world, when you put neurobiology and psychology together, Caleb says, I do. Thank you for saying that, Caleb. All it means is that you just don't know what your identity and your values are and what your mission in life is. That's all it means. And that's exactly why I put Total Rewire together, was so that you get that clarity to walk away after that program to sit and say, shit, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. This is where my values are. This is why I make the decisions I do. So I can walk through that. So you're going to have tremendous, tremendous clarity from that, Brenda. Great job. Congratulations for stepping up for yourself.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You helped a lot.
Great job. Let's give it up for Brenda. One more and I'm going to move on.
Great, Dr. T. Let's give it up for Cameron. Give it up for Cameron, everybody. Let us know where you're from, what you do, and who your favorite superhero is.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hey, Cameron.
Me? Hello?
Hi, there you go.
Oh,
I got you.
no. Well, I don't know. I'm going to keep talking.
I got
if you
you.
can hear me, and if not, you can pull me off. I can't hear you, but I'm Cameron. I'm from
You're good.
California. I used to live in Chicago, so I get what you said when it snows in April. And my favorite superhero is members of our U.S. military, because they're literally superhuman heroes. And my micro win is that I'm here in my car an hour early to an appointment so I can be live with y'all.
I love it. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Can you hear me?
Hang on one
I think
second.
her
I'm trying to
speaker
hear
may be
you.
low. Can you hear me? Maybe it's part of her Bluetooth. The rest of you can hear me, correct? All right, fantastic. Okay. So
Okay.
maybe it's just part of her Bluetooth or the car or something like that. So I just want to say
Can I
thank
hear
you
you?
for stating that, and I completely appreciate it. And it's amazing that I love the
Okay.
fact that our
You.
war vets and our Army vets and all the veterans are out there are definitely the superheroes. So let's give it up for Cameron, guys. Great job. Great work, everybody. So what I want to cover today is really an understanding of how this whole system works. Yesterday, we talked about this emotional age and we talked about the root experiences that come along. And we all have these root experiences. You're not running from them. You're not leaving them by any means. But what I think it was Charmaine earlier was saying, she is able to see where her emotions are and how she responds to them. That's great. That's a great emotional feedback and awareness. But as I was saying to her, where did they start? Right? How does it start? How do we get these emotional feedbacks? How do we get these systems to wake up to who we are so that we understand why we respond the way we do? Depression, anxiety, suicide, the mental health disorders that we're in today are not mental health disorders. They're completely biological. They're completely neurophysiological. Let me show you. Let me go to the board. I'm gonna get my teaching mode on if that's all right with you. And let's go to the board and find out exactly what this all means, right? If we look at this, I want you to think about this. When you're in a stressful state and you get anxious or stressed or frustrated, you release this thing called ACTH. And you don't need to memorize this. I just want to give you an understanding. Because what I've found is that if I give you an understanding, when you know your why, as they say, right, no pun intended here, you'll understand how the body works. And then you'll be able to make better decisions inside of it. So watch this. If you recall, yesterday we talked about the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. We talked about the two sides of ourselves that in essence are relaxing and the other side which is in stress, right? So if you release ACTH, what happens, it goes to the adrenal glands. And you've all heard of these adrenal glands. What they do is they release this thing called adrenaline. Adrenaline goes into the system, and now it says, hey, look, I've got this big surge of adrenaline. What do you think happens if you're stressed and anxious and frustrated and angry, like we're saying Charmaine was, and she continues to go into that state, and she gets into this state, and ACTH comes along from her brain and says, adrenaline, start going from the adrenal glands. It's going to go and release this thing called cortisol. Have you heard of cortisol before? Yes, it's the one that's marketed and said, that's the bad thing. That's the thing that makes you get fat. It's not. It releases cortisol into the system. Now, cortisol comes along and says, you know what? Our body is under stress. Our body is under stress. What do? We've got emergency situation happening here. The body has to slow down. The body has to stop doing all this stuff the way that it's normally designed to work. And what it's going to do is it's going to go down to this state, and it's going to go to this thing called the hypothalamus. That's all the way in your brain to the pituitary. Hang tight. I'm going to explain why I'm saying this. ACTH is released by the brain. The adrenal glands are in your low back, right over your kidneys. Releases cortisol from there that goes back to the brain. So you tell me, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to tell me, is if the information goes to the brain, back to the body, back to the brain, how can you have just mental health? You can't. It's interconnected. The whole system is interconnected. You can't have one without the other. You have to have both of them working in conjunction. And so what happens is your hypothalamus releases this thing called the pituitary. The pituitary comes along and releases this thing called TSH. This is, ladies, you want to pay attention. You ever heard of this thing called thyroid condition? How many women have been diagnosed with thyroid condition? Please put up your hands. I'm giving you the reason why you have thyroid conditions right now. You thought I was just geeking out for the purpose of it. I'm trying to tell you how the thyroid condition works and how stress is playing a part in it. This thyroid, TSH, now goes to your T3, which is your fat burner, and T4, which is your metabolite. So, if you're constantly in stress and going through this cycle, you tell me what's going to happen to your metabolism. Are you going to gain weight? Put your hands up if that makes sense. Are you going to gain weight? Yes. If you gain weight, are you going to have obesity as an issue? Yes. Are you going to have high blood pressure as an issue? Yes. Are you going to have cholesterol buildup as an issue? Yes? Absolutely. There's no question about it. There's no question about it. You will. Watch this now. For those of my advanced students, you know this. The hypothalamus is where you actually have your values. It's actually laid into the brain, into your values. So what I'm saying to you is this, and what I want you to gather so far is what I'm saying is this, is that If you have constant stress on the system and your adrenal glands are constantly firing cortisol, which is affecting the function of this hypothalamus, you're going to have brain fog and a lack of clarity in your decision-making process. Does that make sense? Yes? If it does, please put up your hand so I see that you're with it. Because I geeked out a little bit with you, right? And why that's important. Why is that important? Because some of you will sit and say, well, I don't have thyroid condition. It's more prevalent than you think. Underdiagnosed thyroid is 70% of the cases because we're overfed but undernourished in our society. And when we're eating foods that are not really for our system. But the way that we're stuck in our system is that this cycle right here leads to a state which is called incoherence. It's two terms I want you to gather. We're going to gather, or let's put it here. It's a term called incoherence, and there's a term called coherence. One of my colleagues talks greatly about this, and Joe Dispenza, and he's fantastic. His work is great, and his work with meditation is fantastic. It's great. It's different from what I do. It's completely different, but we're of the same school. We're both come from the same colleges in essence too. It's great, but incoherence is where the body and the mind / brain are out of balance. Out of balance. Coherence is where the brain and the body are balanced. And the place to measure this is in the heart. The place to measure this is in your heart. I love this. Jim is saying most thyroid conditions are autoimmune, especially for women. Autoimmune. I love that term. How many people have heard this term autoimmune before? Okay. Autoimmune means that the body is hurting itself, breaking down, and they can't figure out why. I used to ask the same question, Jim, so I completely agree. But autoimmune does not mean that it doesn't have a cause. Autoimmune, you'll see in a second, is an emotional reason. Because there's nothing that happens in the body without a cause and a reason. And if you don't value yourself and you have guilt and shame towards yourself or anger towards yourself, you'll create your own diseases called autoimmunity. It has an emotional component inside of it. And I've seen this with lupus and thyroid conditions left, right, and center. I've seen that. Like thousands of women over the years have had that. And yes, if you look at it from a medical paradigm, it says it's autoimmune. We can't figure out, but the body is attacking itself. Let me ask you, if you're feeling threatened, that's the only time you would attack. It's the only time you would attack. And so I had these questions back in school, and I would sit, and then the more work I did, the more realizing I got to it, right? I realized that the body had to have an emotional cause as why it did it. When I figured that out, then I opened up the can of worms and I realized that you could do this and we can actually, when we heal the emotional age, we actually heal the person and the thyroid begins to work normally, as it's supposed to, right? Here's the thing I want you to gather. And I used to say this many, many moons ago, but I'll say it again, is that if you're alive, please get this, you are not stricken with a disease. You have the ability to heal. You have to give the body the environment to do so, mentally and physically. You can't do one without the other. You have to have the body, give it the environment to heal, and when it does, amazing things happen. A lot of times say, well, we're degenerating. If you're alive, you have the ability to regenerate. That's why, a lot of doctors say it's spontaneous. It's spontaneous remission. It's a miracle. It's not a miracle. It's not a miracle. It's when you understand how the body works. It's not a miracle. You do it all the time. Take cases with people with 24-year-olds who have heart attacks and fainting and can't get up because they keep passing out. And in 40 minutes, remove it. It's gone. It's history. Gone. I have thousands of cases like this, right? But I'm not curing anything. I'm giving the body the ability to heal. Because here's what happens. When you're in what I call the zone of desperation, you're incoherent. You're imbalanced. And when you're imbalanced, if this is your midline, here's what people do. Is they'll go up, and then they have to come down. And then they have to go up, and then they have to go down. In this, you get super happy, because that's what everybody wants you to do. Then you get super sad. Right? Charmaine's a great example. And I hope it's okay, Charmaine. Give me a thumbs up. I don't see you. Is it okay that I use you as an example? Okay, great. I saw your thumbs up. Cool. Right? When she gets super happy, she goes up. And she gets super elated. I guarantee it. And she's happier than happy. And she's like, life is amazing. I can't believe this. This is fantastic. It's so good that she has to crash. Because what goes up must come down. The more emotional irregularity in your system, in your psychology, the greater volatility a person has. And the greater the emotional imbalance. Watch this now. The distance between here and here and here in here is what I call the distance of delusion. It's the distance of delusion. But they're all triggered neurochemically. They're all triggered neurochemically. When you get someone that says, hey, look, this is really good. I like with this. This makes me happy. This feels good. You get the dopamine surge. You get the norepinephrine surge. And you feel fantastic. But when you have this pattern going in your body and it's sad, you have the cortisol going up. You have the ACTH going up. You have the substance P go up, which makes you have pain and fibromyalgia. All that goes up. And so what happens is you can't have one without the other. So you have these experiences in your life that are constantly up or constantly down, or constantly up and constantly down. Pardon me for doing that off there. Versus being in the zone of inspiration. Being in the zone of inspiration is different. This is where you actually don't have too many highs and don't have too many lows. And you stay much more governed. You stay much more governed. Who's diabetic on this call? Right? Some of you are diabetic. Okay, cool. Right? What do they tell you? When your sugars go up, they're going to come crashing down, aren't they? When you eat carbs, and I'm not against carbs by any means, but when you eat carbs, insulin has to go up and then it has to come crashing down. This is the cycle of the human body. You have the parasympathetic go up, and then you have a sympathetic coming down. The less moderate, the more moderate within your emotional psyche, from here to here, the more emotionally sound and coherent a person is. So what I'm trying to tell you is this person is imbalanced. This person's super balanced. Now let's take a second and look at the emotions in this. When someone is imbalanced, what emotions come up? Judgment, guilt. Anyone holding on to any guilt by any chance? Okay. So if you're holding on to guilt, you're in the zone of desperation and incoherent. Any shame? Yeah. What about anger? Charmaine, this is where I was talking to you about. In anger, right? This is what I was saying. Pride. I'm not prideful. What are you talking about? I'm not prideful. That's pride. I just want you guys to know that. That's pride. Blame. Victim mentality. And criticism. Anyone criticize anyone before or criticize in their life? Of course you do. Right? Let's go to my VIPs over here and let's see what they say. Let's talk to the VIPs. Isolda says I'm talking to you. Jim, I love you too, my man. I love you too. I appreciate that. But that's what happens. Right? Am I too close on two? Stay on one. And so what happens is that your body is constantly doing that. So let's talk into VIP. Sandy says, I'm the poster child for anger and criticism. Rose says, absolutely. Right? Pride and shame, guilt, resentment. Lindsay says, yep, yep, and yep. What about anyone else? Anger is my friend. Shame. How do I say your name? I've been watching it. I'm going to call it Navia. I hope I'm saying it right. Give me a thumbs up if I'm saying it right. Navia? I don't see you. I know you're here somewhere. Yeah, did I say it right? No? Fear is your biggest obstacle. Caleb, it's not fear. It's anger. Oh, we're going with Alpha. Got it, Alpha. I got it. Thank you. Right? Okay. Anger, emotions, soul communicates. Okay, great. So here's what I want you to get. Those that are in a state of coherence, in a zone of inspiration, as I call it, when you're inspired, you move towards things. You don't stay stuck in the world that you're in. You have love, true love, gratitude, appreciation for yourself, appreciation for your life, a state of creation, wealth, fulfillment, and health. If you noticed here, your judgments, I didn't put health. Health can't exist in an incoherent body. Please write that down. Health cannot exist in an incoherent body. It doesn't exist. I don't care what your lab work tells you. Not true health. Because you need to have the health and the balance of the system to be able to work correctly. And when it does, that's when the system starts dialing in. That's when the system starts saying, hey, look, let's work together to make yourself grow. Now, what happens is this. In this state of desperation, we do this, we put it onto the state of desperation through our mechanisms of survival. So you tell me in the chat box, whether you're watching online or on the chat box here, is this person in a sympathetic state? Yes or no? Sorry, you couldn't see my thumb. I apologize about that. Is this person here in a sympathetic state? Yes. Yes, they are. And so what's going to happen to their system? It's going to burn out. It's going to get exhausted. It's going to get fatigued. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say, I'm so tired and I'm exhausted. I'm burning out. Please listen to what I'm about to say next. It's not that your organs don't work properly. It's the communication pathway that doesn't communicate properly. And so eventually the organs break down. It's not that the organs don't work properly. It's the communication pathway doesn't work properly. And then the organs eventually break down because they don't get A, the nutrition it needs, and B, the messaging it needs. You need both. You need both in your system to work. Now, what does this have to do with success? Everything. It has everything to do with success. Because if your life is in a state where you're constantly angry, constantly frustrated, constantly judging people, constantly getting angry at the world or feeling guilty at shame and saying, you know what, and I'm going to compensate for that by being angry at everyone around me. Like your world begins to break down. And what you'll do, and I'm not preaching from an ivory tower because I'm good at this. I was really good at this in my early 30s, is you'll blame everyone else around you. You'll blame your husband, you'll blame your wife, you'll blame your spouse, you'll blame your aunt or your uncle, your kids, and you won't take full responsibility for who you are. Psychoneuroimmunology. And then you start getting sicker and you start getting more ill. And then you sit and say, you know what? Aging is just part of what happens when you get older. Nope, not true. Not true at all. Aging is not aging is not connected to your physical age. Aging is connected to your emotional age. And if you can regress your emotional age by rewiring these things that are holding you back every single day and start living in a governed, organized state and manage this where you don't get angry and sad and happy and sad, like you can now control your environment. And then the environment doesn't control you. You can now sit and say to yourself, you know what? I have full control of who I am and what I do. And I'm coherent. And you know what? The nervous system has a chance to actually function correctly. People say to me all the time, well, how do people come to you and you get rid of diseases? I don't get rid of diseases. I don't. I get people to think and balance their brain. And when they do, diseases go away. Because here's the thing that nobody wants to tell you, that nobody wants to say, that the disease is the cure. The disease is the wake-up call to get you to wake up to who you are. I put a video out there, some of you saw, that diabetes is autoimmune. People sit and say, it's type 1, it's type 2. All this is true. But it's still the feedback to tell you, wake up, because you're out of balance. And the same thing, like I was telling Charmaine earlier, your emotions are the feedback to get you to wake up, to become more authentic to who you are. And when you become authentic to who you are, to why you exist, to what you do, to why you live there, to the reason why you do things, then you start to become authentic to your life. And when you start becoming authentic to your life and who you really are, Stephanie, not someone else, not who someone else is supposed to be, not what your mom and dad wanted you to be, but really who you are, why you're designed, what you want out of your life, and your mind and body become congruent and coherent. And what happens is this whole system starts to work. I hope you write this statement down. It's so simple, but so not used and so misunderstood. The human body functions if you use it or you lose it. It's that simple. If you don't use your life to do the things that inspire you with your life, to do amazing things with your life that you're designed to do. I'm not talking about talking the shit that you tell everybody. But you can look in the mirror and say to yourself, I'm doing amazing things in my life because I'm choosing it. Not that I have to, not that I need to, none of that. That I do this because I can. Because I love myself enough that I step up to do the things that I wanted to do. And you can look at your life 40, 50 years from now and turn back at your life and say, I did everything I could with everything I was given. And I lived the life that I wanted to live. And I'm grateful for every aspect of it. If you have anything other than thank you, I love you at the end of your life, you've lived in regret. And that regret is a judgment in your life. And that regret is a challenge in your life that you've got to look at because your body is telling you to wake up. Your body is telling you to wake up. I started today. Today's day 2. Today's my intensity day. I hope it's okay. Is it okay today that I'm intense? Because look, the reality is that some of you are never going to come back here. Some of you are going to say, you know what, I don't like this guy, he's too intense. But I'm hoping that the words I say today will resonate so deep to you that I fucking wake you up. Because I've seen this happen over and over and over again in my life. Where people will walk away and sit and say, you know what, that was good, I did some stuff, I did some work. No, it's if you don't decide it, nobody's going to come decide it. No doctor is going to have the balls to tell you that you're fucking your life up because you're connecting it. Because you know why? They're controlled and governed by the entire system. I'm not. I'm not controlled by any system. I'm telling you the truth of how the mind-body works to the best of my knowledge. To the best of my knowledge. Are there people who are smarter than me? Of course there are. Are there people that know maybe more in different specialties? Of course there are. When it comes to the mind-body, I'm pretty good though. I'm pretty strong. I know what I'm talking about there. So I say that to you because I want you to look at your life and say, am I doing what it is I want to do? Am I living in a zone of inspiration or desperation? Am I living in a state where my body's constantly breaking down because I'm not doing what it is I want to, or am I building it up? If you're not building your life up, I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 20 or if you're 50. Like, you have to look at your life and say, I'm worth it. I'm worth it to sit and say, I'm worth $50. I'm worth $200. I'm worth $10,000. I'm worth it all. Because the universe is waiting for you to show your love to yourself. And when you do, bam, magic happens. And you get the next opportunity to grow and get to the next piece of yourself. But if you don't, it's hard. Life stays hard. Life doesn't change. And Sandhya, I don't know you, but I'm obviously resonating something really deep inside of your soul. I can see it in your eyes. And that's good. How many people, my words are actually hitting you right between the eyes today? This is what we call a T-by-4. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is you may be one of the few, the rare few that turns around magically and says, you know what, I did strategy and it worked. Cool. I hope you're right. But if you don't, I don't know a better path. I don't know a better system. I don't know a better way to get you there. I know the system that I did to take myself from the bottom of the barrel, to lift myself up, because I had nothing. I had a lemon to eat for 4 days. I had no money. I was not this rich doctor. Well, I was a rich doctor. I lost it all. I gave it all away in a divorce, and I stepped up and I had to rebuild my life. So if you're looking at your life and saying, well, okay, it's easy for him, it wasn't. It wasn't. Come over. Let's talk. Let's make sure it's a night where I don't have to do anything, and let's have a tequila and talk, and I'll tell you the hardships that I went through to figure this stuff out. And I'll tell you the journey that I went through and the hardships to figure it out, because not because I wanted to, not because I wanted to sit and make money off of it. It's because I had to save my own life. Because I had 2 kids on the other side that needed me, and they needed their dad to step up. And I would sit and tell everybody that, you know what? You got to live inspired. You got to do what it is you want to do. And I'd tell them, like, you could do anything you want to with your life. You could be anything you want to. You could do anything you want to. And I looked at myself in the mirror. And here I was, 50 pounds overweight. Looking like shit, eyes bloodshot. Go on Facebook. Look at them. They're all there. My life is my story. My work is me. I've lived it. I've gone through it to show you that the other side is that you can do what it is you want to do. You can live the life you want to live. And today, like I figured it out for my children so that, you know, one day when they're gone, when I'm gone, that they have the path and the process. And I share that with you because you have it. You have it right in front of you. You have it right in front of you. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't live your inspired life. I believe that's bullshit. I do. I believe that's bullshit. Because if you really want something and you love yourself, you'll fucking go do it. You'll do it. Nobody will stop you. But when you wake up to that message and wake up to who you are inside that, that's when you're going to get it. It's not going to happen when you're living in desperation, imbalanced, emotionally chaotic. If you're in VIP, you see all my master students just nodding, right? I see Tanisha just nodding. All my master students like, yep. They all sat there saying the same thing. And I say that to you. I say that to you inside that. So I invite you to join me. I invite you to join me for 3 days and allow me to take you down this journey where you can actually become and take you from a state of incoherence to coherence. From a state of all this neurophysiology coming on, and rewire that so that you can actually live in a state of coherence, balanced, organized. Because there's only 3 areas of your life that are causing you the greatest amount of chaos. And it's what I call the 3 myths of the masses. It's your health, your wealth, and your relationships. Right? If I say to you, how many people have dysfunction, at least they call themselves, in one of these 3 areas, right? Their health, their wealth, or their relationship. Who could put their hand up and say, yeah, that's me? Yeah. And everyone else is just lying to themselves. That's really what it comes down to, right? It's just really, because we all do. Because we're taught all these rules of life. It's just not the way it works. And our brains then hold on to these patterns, and we hold on to this emotional age, and we become emotionally chaotic. It becomes emotionally dysfunctional. And we sit and say, that's life. I don't know about that. I didn't adhere to that, and I didn't say that was life. I said that, no, that's not life. So I invite you to join me. I'd like you to watch a short video. It's on May 13th to 15th. Join me for these 3 days, and we're going to uncover the deepest, darkest secrets of who you are so that you can learn to love and heal yourself. Let's just play the short video.
You don't invest in yourself, your life's not going to change.
I would be ending my life much sooner, not being able to enjoy.
I was just kind of sitting in this space where there's hope.
I've now gone a month without alcohol.
Now I don't freak out about anything anymore.
You know, I'm not really hoping anymore. I'm just, I'm going to live my life how I am.
We had our second highest month in our business after we started working with you, and our highest quarter was this last quarter.
where we were doing pretty good from a standpoint of making money, cash flow, but realistically, one wrong turn, I was one step away from bankruptcy.
I was chasing money because that's what I thought success was. In reality, I was chasing my health.
My business grew 153%.
I continue to bring in new patients.
Business grew 153%.
Loving what I do every day because it's helping them get through this.
Started to go through all this work and money started showing up, patients started showing up. My income went up like 60%, like right away.
All I had to do was tell somebody that I had been raped.
Our income grew 65%, over 117,000 of income growth.
As soon as things opened back up for COVID, we had two of the most prosperous months we've ever had.
I know it sounds harsh to the masses, but I didn't need her, but I did want her in my life.
I was making a crap load of money, and because I did not have the proper association and identification with money and its purpose in my life, for as much money as I was making, I was equally creating opportunities to lose it.
You can actually live like this. You can be balanced and not have such of the big swings with the ups and downs, and just master your life.
Found a job that I'm so fulfilled in because I get to draw people's kitchens all day long, and that's such a huge value for me.
There are two mistakes along the way of mastery. The first one is not starting it. The other is not going all the way.
So I invite you to join me for 3 days where we're going to go through and take your journey through mastery to understand who you are, rewire yourself, rewire who you are. These programs are not a bunch of it's not fluff. We're going to start at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we're going to go till about 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. I don't care. We're going to do whatever it takes to make sure we get you there. And I'm going to take you on Friday, Saturday, and on Sunday. We're going to end around 6 o'clock, right? So commit. If you can commit 3 days to your life to walk through and learn and rewire your brain, you will walk away in a state of greater coherence than you've ever had in your life, because you're going to rewire it. And you're going to see the patterns and these things, that these root experiences that are sitting there. People come to me all the time, well, Dr. Trivedi, how can I heal my root experiences? I'm telling you how to do it. Come to the event so that I can help you do it, right? People want to work with me one-on-one. It's $50,000 a day to work with me one-on-one. That's not affordable for everybody. I get it. But this program absolutely is. That's why I say to you, when you come to Total Rewire, we're going to go through your belief inventory, and we're going to know exactly what your beliefs are. And the reason why is that so you can know where you're beginning from. We're going to find your values so you know exactly what you really are with your decision making, why you make the decisions you do. And you can lose that hypothalamic brain fog. Let's go to the board just 1 second, because why am I saying that? Back here, I said it right here. This is what we've got to clear, because the stress pattern that starts from here. It's not arbitrary. I'm not teaching you my opinion. I'm teaching you science. That's why the results we get are the results we get. It's because how the brain and the body are connected, right? I'm going to teach you on the path to getting you to financial freedom, not me, your financial freedom, right? Diane, your financial freedom is different than Alan's, and which is different from Andrea's. It's unique to you. How do we do that? We're going to get you through that. I'm going to teach you how to rewire regret. Let me just ask you a question. How many people are holding on to some level of regret? Just be real with yourself. Put your hands up if that's true. Of course you do. What would it mean to your life to rewire that regret and get rid of it so it no longer holds you back? Like, it would take that weight off of your shoulders forever. You can do that. Your relationships and money. Man, I'll tell you, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again, is that relationships and money are the most important thing that you've got to master inside this game. Because money breaks up more relationships than anything else. It's money that screws relationships up. You got to rewire the fear. Fear that's holding you back from actually moving forward in your life. You know your why. It's the fear of why you're not moving forward. That's a story you're telling yourself, right? I don't know who you are, what your story is, but we can individually nail it, right? Discover your true identity. It's like Shauna said earlier. If you know your identity, you know why you do what you do, you know exactly who you are, then you'll understand why you make the decisions you do, right? Understand the freedom formula, your freedom formula, not mine, not anyone else's. What's freedom for you? You're going to gather that as well. So that being the case, like, let me just ask you, who knows that this is right for them to come to the program, to be a part of it, right? If it is, just put your hand up for me, right? Lathea said, put your hand up. I can see it. Khalil says, it is for me. Fantastic. I love that, right? Commit to yourself. If you don't commit to yourself, nobody's coming to save the day. All you got to do is scan this code. Normally, the tickets themselves are $497 each, but for this event and for this week, in essence, it's $197, and you get to bring a guest with you. That's right. It's $197. Buy one, get one. So, how many people, and it can't be someone that's already come to the event before. It's got to be someone that you know that's unique, because my mission is to help as many people as I possibly can. So I want you to bring people that are committed to growing themselves. People that you know, maybe someone, a friend, a family. How many people wish they had other family members at this challenge or this workshop over the last couple of days with me? Anyone think of that? Yeah, and Andrew says, yeah, absolutely. Well, bring them to this workshop. Say, hey, look, here, I'm doing this workshop. It would mean a lot to me if you would sit with me and do this for yourself, because it may help you, but more than anything, it would really help me. And watch what's going to happen. The relationship will change, the person will change, and they'll be totally grateful because of it. As bonuses, we're going to throw in 2 months of a financial program that I do that has helped people make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month in 2 months. I'm not even joking. By removing the financial barrier that's holding you back. And that's 2 months as a bonus, a part of that. I'm going to give you 3 hours of a program called Think Wealthy. It's a program I did. I am also going to give you the Rewired Entrepreneur. How many people on this call are entrepreneurs, just out of curiosity? Good. So do you think that your business and your mind are correlated? No? Nina, you really think that the business and the mind are not intertwined? Yes, 100% they are. The business will never outgrow the psychology of the leader. The business will never outgrow the wiring of the leader. It's impossible. It's impossible. So entrepreneurs, if you're looking to grow your business, you've got to take charge of that. That's what that program is. Total $17.94 worth of bonuses. Go to totalrewirenow.com so you can register yourself. I'd love to hear from a couple people maybe what their experience was just at Total Rewire. And I'm going to call on, I'd love to call on Tanisha. Can we find Tanisha? And then after that, maybe let the team pick someone else after that. How about that? Just for Total Rewire, let's just keep the conversation, Tanisha, just on Total Rewire. You came to Total Rewire not too long ago. And can you tell everyone kind of what your experiences was at Total Rewire, what it did for you, and what it brought for your life?
Yes, definitely shattered a lot of beliefs that I was holding on to, stories that I was holding on to, realizations that, I was blaming other people for choices that I had made. And just from that brief 3-day experience, decided to take a chance on myself and invest in myself. And it's been an amazing journey so far.
And have you received more money since you did Total Rewire?
Yes.
Has your relationships changed with your partner?
Yes. Yep. Definitely talked about that with my coach recently. If you're looking to get definitely increase your libido, then definitely join Total Rewire.
We're not like we're not marketing it that way, but if you want to increase your libido, yes, this is the place to do it. So
join.
Cool. Well, thank you, Tanisha. I appreciate it. Amanda, let's go. Let's have one more person. I'd love to hear from one more person.
Let's give it up for Mike H. Give it up for Mike, everybody.
Hey, Mike.
Hi, good to see you again.
Good to see you too, my friend. I know you've had some challenges recently, but I'd love for you to share with everyone kind of what your experiences were at Total Rewire, what that did for you, just those 3 days in coming to that workshop.
Sure. My experience got me to step out of my own way and reconnected with some family members that I hadn't been connected with for 6 years. And it just opened that up. And just that experience at all, as the more I immersed myself into the work, the better things started happening to me. It's no coincidence that when I fell out of my immersion is when all these challenges started happening in my life.
Sure.
So Yeah, definitely. If the one thing that I got was just being reconnected with my sister, then it was totally worth it. But I got so much more than that.
I love it, Mike. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, guys. If you're interested in committing to yourself and looking at yourself and saying, "Look, I'm worth it," then join me at Total Rewire and come into a part of that world, because I promise you, those 3 days, you will not walk away the same human being. You will have clarity and understanding. People come to those 3 days and I never see them again, and I get letters from them, years later, and saying, those 3 days changed the course of my life. I learned my values. I understand who I was, and just I went on a different path. That's what it's about. So I invite you to do that. Tonight, you have homework. This is what I call the emotional regulator. Okay? Now, there's two zones. We talked about this. We have the zone of desperation and we have the zone of inspiration. We're going to talk more about that tomorrow. But I want you to just look at it as the lady earlier was saying, Charmaine was saying, excuse me, like she checks her emotions as to what's happening. And I want you to do this for yourself. I want you to do this for yourself. I want you to look at the clock and say, hey, look, it's almost 2 o'clock in Chicago. At 2 o'clock, do I feel judgmental? Do I feel guilty? Not guild. Let's find a typo in their team. Shame, anger, pride, blame, or criticism. Where am I currently really at? And be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. And maybe at that time you feel like, you know what? I'm kind of angry. Okay, cool. You put judgment. But maybe later this afternoon at 4 p.m., you feel love, you feel grateful in your life, and you put down, you're in the gratitude state. Okay, fantastic. And I want you to do this for the course of the next 24 hours. So you may find that other times you're here and here and here, and at this time you're here inside that. So you look at it and you add it all up, right? And you say, well, 2 times you're here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 of 7, you're here. So then what you do is you divide the 2 and you'll find out 2 out of 7 you're here, 5 out of 7 you're here, and you'll notice that you actually have a state that you predominantly are, this would be closer to not 50%, but maybe closer to 23-ish percent. You live inspired in this inspirational state, 23%. You're 23% coherent. This would mean that you're 77% incoherent. And I want you to do this, and I want you to look at this. So again, I'll say this again because people get confused. I want you to look at the time of day when you print this out and say it's 4 o'clock. Do it at 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock. You can even do it at 10 p.m. if you want to, 8 a.m., 10 a.m. And I want you to mark off what's your current state. Because the main thing I want you to gather is, what is your emotional state? Are you in a state of coherence or incoherence? Because tomorrow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly what that means and show you exactly how to move yourself from incoherent to coherent and what you need to do in order to get there, so that you understand how incoherence is preventing your life, where coherence gets you to wake up. And you'll be able to move through that journey, move through that path with clarity, certainty, and truly, truly a great state of love and gratitude for who you are. Because I know one thing for sure. It doesn't matter what you've gone through in your life. It doesn't matter what you've been through in your life. Your life experiences are your life experiences. It's how you perceive what's happened to you in your life that matters. And if your perception is that I've been victimized, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm guilty, I'm judgmental, I get triggered. The more triggered you get, the more judgments you have, the more work you have to do on yourself. Just is. So the more triggered you get, the more judgment you have on yourself, and the more work you need to do for yourself, if you choose to. You don't have to do anything. At the end of the day, you can sit and say, I'm not going to do a damn thing. Cool. Ask your spouse how that works out. Right? Ask other people how that works out. But if you're smart, which you guys all are, I know you wouldn't be in a program like this with me if you weren't. If you're smart, you realize that the secret to the mastery of your life comes in the mind. And the mind and the body work together. I said it yesterday. The body is the conduit of consciousness. We just have to allow you to express it fully so that you can show up, you can be who you are, and allow yourself to live. Live for all of it, right? Not live in a state of 50% of life, to live in 100% of life, to live in a state where you can completely express all of your state and have all the wealth you want, all the riches you want, all the relationships you want, all the vitality you want. All of it can come together. But you have to make those decisions. You have to look in the mirror and sit and say, am I willing to be honest with myself? I know for me, it was really a hard decision. It was a hard move to do, to be able to look in the mirror and say, look, I'm going to make this decision and I'm going to stick to it. It's not going to be easy, right? How many people can attest, like, sitting here listening to this doctor guy, it's not easy, right, John? It's kind of intense. He's an intense dude. And it's okay. It's okay. I get it. I'd rather be intense and tell you the truth than be a bullshitter and just make money off of people. That's not my game. I'd rather tell you the truth on how this thing works so that you have a chance, if you choose, to master your life. Because I know the ones that just said yes to mastering their life and took a chance on themselves are forever grateful. And that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in people living in a state of gratitude. Because when they experience it, they understand it, they live it, they have nothing but thank you to say. They're not going to tell you I love you or I like you. They're not going to tell you that you did so good. They're going to sit and say thank you. Because I believe that a mentor has the balls and the courage to tell people the truth. I'm interested in telling people the truth. Are you willing to listen to your own truth? I hope you are. I hope today's been valuable. I hope today you got a lot of clarity, a lot of understanding in who you are, and understanding the difference between coherence and incoherence. I can't wait for your videos. Make sure you post the videos again today. I want to see your videos after you do the homework. See what the realizations were. Share inside there. And those of you who have not done your videos yet, please come on board. Share your videos. I want to watch them. I want to get to know you better. Thank you all for being a part of it today. I truly appreciate it. VIP, stick around. We got some great questions to answer today. I'm sure you guys are thinking deep. I can't wait to work with you guys. Thank you guys again. I'll see you tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Trivedi. That was wonderful. If you're VIP, let's stick around. We got some Q&A coming up. If you would like to be VIP, it's not too late. Go ahead and click on that link in your chat boxes. Get on VIP so you can ask questions today and tomorrow and get the recordings. You don't want to miss a minute. All right. Thank you, Dr. T. Thank you, everybody, for being on here. And VIPs, let's get rolling, okay? We got about 30 minutes with Dr. T, so I want all the VIPs, go ahead and raise your virtual hand. And I'm gonna ask again that you guys, just a quick reminder, I'm gonna ask that you just not ask him specific health questions, business or personal situations, as he's not going to have the context of where you want to go to. So let's keep it very generalized, like a couple of you did yesterday. It was awesome. Great job. Great job. But get to that question as soon as you can without too much of the story based around it. That'll be very helpful to keep us moving and get our questions based on the content answered today. All righty. So if we have anything with that rewiring your life today and what we discussed, let's go. All right, let's bring up, who's got a question for us? I want to see those hands in the chat box there. And you can also put a question mark in the chat box if you need to. I'm going to start with, oh, Maine, you disappeared. All right, Mike Herrera, you're up. And Jim, you are on deck.
Hello. Might be off topic, but about a month ago, you'd mentioned a program about dialing into the nutrition and all that. I'm definitely interested in delving into that further.
Let's talk about that later. Let's talk about it another time.
Okay, no worries. Thank you.
Yep, that's another program that I'm doing, but that's not here.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mike. Jim, you're up. Tell us where you're from, what you do, and your favorite superhero.
I am from Michigan. I am also a physician, and I do the health and wellness model without drugs and surgery like you, Doc.